Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Parmasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Upashama Prakarana, section 92. Sadhana leading to wisdom. Good association. Scriptures have nothing more good to say. Good association. Satsanga. Knowledge of the scriptures. All these have to be understood in a profound way. Of course, you begin with whether you understand profoundly or not. You go to where Satsanga becomes available, where teachings are being given by advanced souls, and you join. That's called good. What we are having is illustration of Satsanga. But Satsanga should not stay confined only to that. It should be a profound project in your life, from morning till evening, day by day, hour after hour, and so forth. But that doesn't mean that now your mind has to be always in a state of stress. What is Satsanga? What is not Satsanga? Your love for Satsanga should be a delicacy. Your mind begins to taste the joy of seeing things in a mature way versus seeing things in a kiddish way. And move away from being childish to a grown-up state. That, again, easily said, but that's your whole challenge. You never grow up in one day. It took you a long time. But that's your art of spiritual life. How to turn the mind positive in no matter which situation. If it is adversity, even this will pass away. No gain without pain. So many adversities you have overcome. So why allow your mind to be dumped? Keep the mind's energy directed towards resolving the adversity by your common sense. Use all your common sense, leave no stone unturned. But do all that in a very spontaneous way, not with pressure or tension. And if what you are doing doesn't succeed to your expectation, don't be frustrated. Frustration is never a solution. No despair. Go on repairing. So, when you turn your attention to in this direction, Satsanga is opening its door. More advanced, now we begin to see spiritual qualities in others. All people are sourced by God within them. And so, any good quality that you see in other is a ray of God coming. So always open your heart to appreciate it, recognize it, and in practical way, encourage people who have those good qualities to develop more. Leading to, all these are different stages of Satsanga, leading to a state where everything in this world, first, things that are very impressive to the mind, flowers, birds, and similar things. Allow your mind to be inspired by all this. The whole world opens itself, open many gates to your satsanga. So that's simply I'm giving you some flashes of satsanga. Knowledge of the scripture, swadhyaya, that also has all these implications. Literally implies you take up a scripture, you study under the guidance of Guru, Gita, Upanishad, Brahma Sutras, any scriptures, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Puran, Yoga Vasistha, or any scripture that appeals to you, and gain deep insight under good guidance. But that's first stage of understanding about Swadhyaya. Going to deeper level. Learning lessons, that's what, two things are there. Lessons, what lessons to learn? What is the greatest lesson in your life? But don't go into that climax. You should become addicted to learning lessons. Lesson addiction. Unlimited. And especially lessons that are bringing changes in your personality, changes that indicate spiritual enrichment. You are learning lessons, you have more control over your mind, you have more forbearance, ability to be patient, and ability to not go after finger pointing constantly. Allow 3 fingers to point to you. Use that mathematics. 3 times look into yourself. That which you are hating in somebody, why are you hating? Because you have been attacked by those qualities. 3 times. All that, I can go on and on, but just to understand those points. Learning lessons. Again, lessons never stop. Even if you feel that your Kundalini has come to Sahasrara, and you have nothing more to learn. I'm Brahman, what else? Continue learning lessons. lessons in every stage. How you handle your desk, how you keep informed with your the technical progress that goes on modifying your whole computer. But not going in obsessive detail, but according to the need of your personality. Your swadharma, performance of duty, should not be old style 50 years back. Use all the modern resources. Be wise. So all that, these are lessons in every stage. Lessons for what medicines you should take, lessons for your health, lessons for how to calm your mind, and many, all things. The errors that drive you backwards, how not to repeat them again and again. The food that you eat that causes vomiting, how not to go after the same food again and again. So lessons are boundless. And in your own relationships, how to learn lessons. You said something, what you think is right, but the person listening to it didn't follow that way, was hurt because you are telling someone you are foolish, dull wit. So you learn lessons, how to give good advice. 50 times you have failed in giving advice in a right way. Go on correcting yourself. Come to that level, the person never feels that that he or she is being instructed. But loving atmosphere. I can go on creating some imagination. So, renunciation of vasanas, impacting upon vasana, again is a broad plan of life. All this I said in a positive way. Any of that practice that is bringing positive state is changing your vasana. What lessons you learn, that which keeps the record of your learned experience, that's your subconscious, and the root lies in the unconscious. So they are well packed without giving big space to your head. Any good lessons learned is with you. You may seem to as if you have forgotten it, but the lesson has not forgotten you. So sometimes, unwittingly, your subconscious pushes you. Things that you didn't plan to think. Subconscious opens the door. Human life is very interesting. And control of the pranas, which we have gone through. Each time your mind changes, pranas are impacted. Each time pranas operate in a particular way, the pranas are harmonized, mind automatically tends to become quieter, turn to positive. It goes both ways. If you are joyous, you don't have to think of which muscles I have to give attention to make healthy face. Joyousness picks up all the needed, nearly 100 items in your face. Puts them in the right order. I'm doing it in a humorous way, but you have to understand it applies to all, your entire scheme for having healthy personality, healthy body. More positive mind, greater is your ability to prevent diseases, maintain good health, secure longevity, and live a life that has meaning, not meaningless life. So these are the best methods of attaining self-realization. Without taking recourse to these, those who adopt various austerities and disciplines led by their own whims and fancies are unable to attain the goal in spite of their intense efforts. This point has to be simply understood easily, you see. If you want to learn music, be a good musician, don't learn from a monkey. No matter how long you spend your time joking, crying, don't learn from those who don't have the skill. But they have a lot of popularity. Because when they start the music, they shout, they jump. And many people join with the monkey dances. Monkey jumps, monkeys follow. But no matter how much effort you have done in maintaining eccentric type of practice, that does not lead you to success, spiritual success. This all is pointing to integration, harmonization in your personality. The simple point that allow your karma, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, dhyana yoga, jnana yoga, your action, your emotion, your will, and your reason. Allow all these to be operative in your life, but in a harmonious way. Just like in music, the chords of the music must follow a rhythm, a harmony, a melody. That melody aspect will come gradually if you continue your sadhana under good guidance and with satsanga. Without taking recourse to these, those who spend the time performing various rituals, austerities, pilgrimage, and charitable deeds, are unable to root out suffering from their hearts. The people in the name of religion suddenly they bring to their mind that let's do this ritual, and what Padma Puran says that way. All these list of so much sandal, so much coconut, so much this, so much. What was presented so many years back, 100 years back. And you want to follow exact detail Now, those who perform ritual with detail, that's perfectly okay. But to stay completely confined, that unless the ritual is done exactly as it is, Bilva Patra, if it doesn't have the 3 in it, it's not perfect. People, I'm just giving you some details. To take up a long trip, far distant in a pilgrimage place, and there performing certain ritual in the Shiva's temple, suddenly they had brought right type of bilwa leaves, 3 together. But some monkey took it. Now they communicate with all their near and dear ones, because today there is, you have this special scientific equipment. Even picture the bilwa leaf, how it was there and how it has gone. Another person has an opposite experience. You hardly thought of bringing a bilwa leaf, but by the time you started, suddenly dropped exactly. So your entire sadhana is just focused on that happening. I'm not discouraging you to understand that also is a miracle of grace, even little things. But your whole sadhana was not just meant for that. But you interrupt your entire trip only on that basis. So that's a big drawback. So whenever the scripture talk about those spend their time performing various rituals, austerities, pilgrimages, and virtuous deeds. By virtuous deeds meant for popularity. So the people do charitable works, but they do it in a way, old style, find a path that is very popular, so many people go, and build something with a big name of yours. This is a park, a temple, donated by that great personality. So how many donations have I done? How many good deeds have I done? So you are counting your good deeds. So that type of virtue is increasing your vanity. It is good, but that goodness will give you result in the form of bhoga. You will go to heavenly world, led by your virtuous karma. But heavenly world is not eternal. Your karma will get exhausted. Then people are born again. So that's the result of virtues that are confined to your ego's concept. But virtue that allows your ego to be transparent. Virtue that's when you are admired by your virtuous deeds, you simply say, please don't. God does all those things. You don't have to use the same words. You may even accept, yes, you did. But internally you must have that humility. Then you are doing real virtue. Otherwise you are counting how many deeds you have done. All these people are unable to root out suffering from their hearts. Their minds are like frightened deer in a forest. That's what the predicament of the deer is. They look very dear. But a more frightened, more dear. But that's the moha-based description of cute looks. But let's go into the meaning behind it. The mind becomes like that type of deer, constantly terrorized by wolves, bears, lions, tigers, and many other animals. Constant terror. And from old times, human beings have been hunting the deer. And mind faces that type. This is an allegorical description of how your mind, living in this world, is constantly collecting impressions of terror. And modern world of this virus is giving you more, opening the whole window from morning till evening. Like a stream descending from a mountain height, such a mind flows to the objects of the world. The mind has nothing to do but finding spots where you can have more contents for your worry. Worrisome. That's what people do. When you look for news, what are you looking for? All terrorizing things. Gathering the impressions of attachment and hatred. And what are you gathering? Impressions of raga, dvesha. Attachment. Things give you slightest delight. Now you hold on to that. With a wish, may I have this type more and more. And dvesha, same thing that gave you delight, changes its position, becomes a source of pain. Now the mind collects dvesha. This item, this person, this object that gives me pain. Oh God, let this go far away. So, one day you spend time, let this never go away. Another day, let it go far. And you are gathering this confused project in your mind. One compartment of your mind has kept impressions. How wonderful. Another, all bitter experiences. I'm highlighting. It is not like that exactly, but to make things easy. Therefore, O Rama, take recourse to the methods that give rise to intuitive realization of the self. In other words, if you are allowing your mind only to stay afflicted by raga, dvesha, attachment and hatred, by mentioning attachment and hatred, you are implying all the 5 factors, kleshas. 5 factors: ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, fear of death. These are called kleshas. An important point, if mind is rid of klisht, samskaras, impressions based upon kleshas. And another term is aklisht. If mind comes to that level of purity, then there is tattva jnana, revelation. Aham brahmasmi, I am Brahman. But as long as kleshas grip your mind, your intellect remains dull. And your identity, true identity, is never recovered as long as it is gripped by kleshas. He who has attained wisdom is indeed happy, truly alive, and profoundly strong. People always give blessings. May you be blessed with health, long life, peace, prosperity, and long life. You live for 100 years, for 1,000 years. What I'm trying to say. All that becomes meaningless if the blessings are meant to keep you involved in the worldly prosperity. Real prosperity are used with the same terms. Health, health means that type of your body mindset that is never forgetting the goal of life. Then you are really healthy. Again, if your happiness is only on the basis of sense enjoyment, then you are not really happy. If you are alive, very healthy, to eat more and more wonderful things, more select items, then that is not real joy of life. You are not truly alive. And your strength you measure on the basis of overcoming your enemies, or demonstrating, like wrestlers demonstrate how their muscles. If that type of health you possess, then you are not truly healthy. If that type of strength you possess, that's not real strength. O Rama, withdraw the mind from the illusory object of the world and direct it to Brahman with a vision of inward detachment. Continue to perform your duties in daily life. Be established in the state of mystic inaction, even while performing actions in the world. This advanced and mature understanding of the goal of life. Put it in modern terminology, with this virus type of setting, we speak of self-isolation and social distancing. For dealing with death virus, you have to do the same thing in a profound way. Self-isolation. Always be focused on knowing, who am I? So isolate yourself even from your own physical body. You are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect, you are not the ego. Put on swab. That's a picture of self-isolation. Even during practice, you close your door, do your sadhana. At that time, you don't allow anybody. And social distancing, yes, society, without society, you can't be doing many of your duties. But distance, keep 6 feet, can control your sneeze, etc. Humorous way I'm trying to say. How to live with people, but with an internal detachment. That's called Asanga. Continue to perform your duties in daily life. Be established in the state of mystic inaction. Inaction called akarma. And there is a little formula. Karma plus vikarma becomes akarma. Karma, the work, duties that you do. Vikarma, what type of attitude you have behind your duties. The attitude that you should have it is recognized in the form of yajnas. If you are doing japa, doing swadhyaya, all these are called japa, all these are called yajnas. I'm giving you a very first early stage of akarma. Early stage, same day you are living, doing various chores. But the day when you have started with meditation, japa, your asanas, that day you have added a special vikarma to your karma. When you do that, changes occur in the performance of your duties. First stage of change, you find great precision, delight, and spontaneity in handling the chores of your life. Your skill goes higher and higher, even in adverse situations. When there is storm and similar situations of great noise and great disorder of all types, still you continue. And as you begin to understand the term yajna, if you are sharing knowledge, that's called jnana yajna. So if your activity in daily life mixes with yajna, all yajnas are called vikarmas. They are karma, but a specialized karma. The specialized karma, vishesh karma, vikarma. The specialized karma blended with your practical daily duties. Once you blend that, your duties, your karmas, instead of keeping you confined to the fruit of karma, it begins to promote purity in your heart, bhavana shuddhi. And when that happens, love of God begins to blossom. Bhakti begins to rise. And with bhakti being highlighted in your personality, all the yogas, integral yoga reaches a great success. Bhakti brings sweet melody to your spiritual movement. So ultimately what happens? You appear to be involved in dynamic activities, unthwarted by so many challenging situations. You appear inwardly nothing, as if you have done nothing. You're simply peaceful. See the opposite side. You develop the idea, I must rest. So you rested a whole day and ended up to sleep with a very tired mind, exhausted. So, even though it appeared that you did no karma, but you ended up being more involved in the burden of karma. On the other hand, a joyous, ideal life, you did lots of karmas and complained that the time is so short. I have such a big project. I'm joking a little. Complain only with satire, in a joyous way. And we ended up absolutely relaxed. Because God made you do all those things. See, it is God in whose arms you rest. So understand the two types of, these are ideals, so you don't think suddenly this change will come. But that should be your goal. And any progress is a progressive movement. Next we are entering into section 93. The glory of spiritual enquiry, Vichar, and the attainment of wisdom. I already told you, Yoga Vasistha doesn't have any other topic. Sage Vasishtha continued, O Rama, even a little practice of Vichar can enable a person to have considerable control over his mind. The Vichar term is very subtle. When translated, it simply do your best by saying enquiry. But it is a subtle search within yourself. Who am I? But no matter whichever way we say, we are using words. But enquiry is an internal hunger for truth. And you go on gaining that as you succeed in your daily sadhana. Each time your mind relaxes, becomes meditative, there is inspiration. Certain thoughts that you were keeping your mind clouded, inspiration drives them away, fills you with energy. So that type of inspiring movement, what is the source of that inspiration? And that is your whole internal life is focused on finding that source. The more and more you awaken that process of having your gaze towards the goal of your life. Now, all this time I'm saying allegorically, the idea is your understanding continues to advance. The understanding that you are not physical body. You are not a mortal personality. So therefore, no matter what happens, this is not an end of your life. And as inquiry advances, you begin to have that revelation. The I am in you. Let me give you a simple illustration. All consider the sun as the I am. All reflected suns appear like the sun. Each reflected sun in a jar of water has created its own illusory identity. And that's the predicament of every soul in the state of embodiment. Everyone feels me. How am I related to those other people? Look at it, they are so happy and I'm not. Or I am very happy and they are not. Whichever way. And find countless I ams in a turmoil. But out of all these I ams, the source, the reality, the sun. So until the shaky I am has come to realize I am that, the goal is not attained. No matter how best or how better an embodiment becomes possible for you. The water content in a pot, no matter how you put it into another beautiful jar, from illusion point of view, the reflected sun is very happy now. So, happiness based on karma and embodiments, that happiness is so shallow. But all this is due to lack of your true identity. It's an identity crisis. Discover your identity. And the identity of countless souls, no matter there are how many souls, the identity is only one. The I am the sun. The sun is only one. I'm talking from the allegorical point of view. Similarly, I am the absolute reality, Brahman. That's your true identity. He who has practiced spiritual enquiry has indeed attained the highest fruit of his life. And that's your highest fruit. But he who lives without the practice of enquiry leads a fruitless existence. You are gripped by death virus, no matter what you attain, led by your karma. Your goal, discovering your identity, Satchidananda, absolute existence, absolute consciousness, absolute bliss, eternity, immortality. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. And this we will bring again and again. So it's not all over. Om. Prayer for shower of grace, grace of Karunamaya Rasa of God over all those who are suffering, and try to develop spiritual sensitivity, draw inspiration from Satsanga, practice real self-isolation. It's a joyous opportunity. And social distance. Turn all this into an opportunity for best austerity. best spiritual sadhana, and emerge blessed with Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. When we say Shakti, I'm not talking about the muscular, the strength that allows you not to be elated, not to become full of vanity. When the demons of anger, hate come with their big mouths and big paws, have the divine muscle to drive them away. That is called strength. That's Shakti, Bhakti, love of God. All love that you have experienced, they have been shaky. दिल के टुकड़े हजार हुए. Your heart has been cracked up into million times, in million pieces. So try to develop that type of love that cannot be broken to pieces, but joins all pieces and brings them into absolute peace and mukti, liberation. So that's the goal of life. And when you bring that goal of life in your view, that's the best celebration, best project of a joyous project. And with this, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukum Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti 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 Om Hari Om Tat Sat.